Welcome to InterPartyConflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Gabe.
And my name is Jeff.
And we're going to answer your questions today. But first, I have a question for Jeff.
Yeah?
Jeff?
Huh?
Jeff?
What?
Jeff?
Yes?
Jeff?
Gabe?
Maybe that was the question.
My answer would be Jeff.
There you go. How are you doing today, Jeff?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. It's the end of my weekend.
Yeah.
So it's the end of my, I don't know.
So
it's never long enough.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Never long enough to get what you want done.
Yeah.
Something I should bring up actually.
Yeah.
So FriendQuest we did our 24-hour stream.
Yes.
Over
Congratulations.
The weekend, and it was a lot of fun. We actually got a decent amount of donations sent to the Extra Life charity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really wasn't expecting much. You know, they like the Extra Life website has you put in like a goal,
mm-hmm.
and like a minimum goal is $100 per person or whatever raised. And I was like, if we make it, we do. That'd be awesome. If not, whatever. We totally beat it. Like we got like both Griff and I each got like a little over $100, raised for the charity. So I was like, that was cool. And like, it was really fun. We had, I started around, I want to say 8:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Griff showed up not too much long, like maybe like an hour later or something like that. And we played in most of the day. We had a friend of ours, Patrick Hunt, came over and played
mm-hmm.
some games with us. Skylar even played a round of Mario Party with us.
Cool.
She got very upset because she lost, because Skylar always wins.
Yeah.
Skylar
really
always
does.
wins, but like for whatever reason, this new Mario Party is just like, I don't know. It's just not working for her.
Oh, you know what? There's a little switch on the back. You probably
it's
flipped
the Skylar always wins.
There's the Skylar always wins. You probably flipped it off.
And then towards the end, it was like, I was thinking it was like the last 3 or 4 hours, Griff had to go because he wasn't gonna be able to drive home, basically. He was getting so tired. And then Patrick had to leave and Skylar went to bed. And so I was like, all right, I'll keep it going. I'm falling asleep and I could barely keep playing. And
did somebody come to your rescue, Jeff?
Somebody came to my rescue. Gabe showed up, and he brought Super Metroid and played that for he played that for a couple hours.
Little over 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So we managed to make it to the full 24 hours of the stream. And I was just out. I was so tired.
Yeah.
But it was a blast. We are definitely going to do it again next year.
Cool.
And I'm for sure going to be doing more streaming in between, until then. And we're obviously going to keep putting up stuff on FriendQuest. So everyone, please come watch us on FriendQuest.
Yes, absolutely.
FriendQuest on YouTube. You can search us. We don't have a unique URL just yet. But if we reach 100 subscribers, we will have that. So it'll be a lot
mm-hmm.
easier for people to find us. That way it'll be youtube.com/FriendQuest.
Sure.
Right now, just type in FriendQuest and look up, like we played Zelda or we played Jet Force Gemini or something like that. So if you looked up that with the name, you would probably find us.
Yeah.
And then we're also on Twitch on FriendQuest Stream. Is the name on that one. So
yep.
we would greatly enjoy more people show up because like it was fun. We had a blast.
Yeah. It was cool. I was glad I was able to be there for a little while at least. Mm-hmm. And
I was very grateful because like I was dozing off hard. It was like you can go to twitch.tv/FriendQuest FriendQuest stream rather.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to the videos, it's still up there. If you go to the second half. The second video of the stream, if you go to the very end, the last 3 hours is Gabe doing a very good job at playing Super Metroid as Jeff drifts off to sleep land
and talks about how welcoming the hard concrete floor looks.
Right. Yes. Cause we were in the basement and like, I was so tired that I'm like, that floor, that hard concrete, cold basement floor looks so comfortable right now.
We've all been there, Jeff.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Speaking of streams and I guess FriendQuest, so I mentioned a couple episodes ago I was thinking of doing another stream this month.
Right.
I think I want to do an arcade stream the day after Thanksgiving, so November 23rd.
Okay.
Which is also my birthday.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for that. We'll post about it on social media between now and then. Yeah. All right. You want to go ahead and sorry. One more thing that I want to mention. You also ran a game.
Oh, I did.
You ran your Roll20 game.
Oh, I did. That's right. Yeah.
Last week. Yeah.
How did it go?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't do DMing, and like it was a little rough and everything, but I had a couple ideas that I wanted to throw out there, so it was kind of fun.
Do you want to tell our listeners what happened, or do you want to keep it a secret?
No, we could talk about it, because I wanted to make it like it was Halloween time, so what I had happen was you guys I had you make characters. And came to the table, playing those characters, and you immediately came into an encounter where you like fought some zombies, and then like after taking out a couple of zombies, you come to realize that they're not zombies, they're children in costumes.
But then we were also children in costumes.
But then it is then revealed to you that you are also just some children in costumes, and so you're not playing like the characters that you were made were the characters that the children were pretending to be.
Right. Which took me a little while to realize, and for a while I was freaked out that I had just headshotted some little kid.
Right. Which I didn't want that thought to stick around for too long. Like, I wanted you to realize it at some point.
Yeah.
But I also wanted you to have like that like, oh crap moment, because like when you're a kid and you're playing pretend and you accidentally really hurt one of your friends or something like that, and you get into that, you go from pretend world to, oh my gosh, we're in trouble, guys, we have to go home. Like my parents are gonna kill me. Like the illusion of like the playing pretend kind of just like goes away in a second, and you're like, oh, crap, I'm in trouble. So like I kind of wanted that feeling of like, what happened? So
yeah, so we were little kids pretending to be heroes, but then
but then like you get into some mischief or something, or like you get into a bad situation where a powerful witch turns you into the characters that you made. So,
yes.
So like little introduction there where it gives you the old switcheroo, but it switches, you switch back. So
so it was a lot of fun. We didn't get very far, so we didn't finish it. We will be hopefully finishing it later this month, correct?
Yeah.
Cool.
And so like that, that was sort of like the introduction. I meant it as I meant this whole thing to be more of a one-off thing, but like the introduction itself was there was a lot to it, and again, I'm not very good at the DMing part yet.
Nah,
so like,
you're fine.
Getting everybody through those motions was like, it
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a really good time, and I'm very excited for the next half.
I was nervous about it, but by the end I was like, that went pretty well. So
yeah. Cool. So good job, Jeff.
Thank you.
And hopefully there will be more of that in the future.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go ahead and get into this episode?
Sure.
Okay. So I want you to imagine that it is the blood drive at school, your work, somewhere.
Okay.
You're giving blood, or something.
At the library.
At the library, sure. And give me a Constitution saving throw to see if you are able to get through without getting too woozy.
Sure. All right. I'm taking some of my blood.
Okay.
I got
you do pretty good. In fact, you do so good that the nurse comes and gives you a cookie.
Nice.
And some grape juice.
Okay.
And is about to send you on your way. So as you start to, your mind is sort of clearing as you're eating the cookies and you're drinking some juice. You notice that the machine that they're like connecting you to and they're drawing your blood, because apparently they use a machine to draw your blood in this scenario.
Right.
You notice that it's got all these arcane symbols and stuff etched on it.
Uh-huh.
And then you notice that the nurse that was I can't even get through it. Yeah. You notice that the nurse that was drawing your blood is a bit on the tall side. She has a bit of a tan. And every time she talks, some fire shoots out and burns some stuff.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
You get a little suspicious. So you ask, hey, so so what's happening to this blood of mine after I donate it? What happens to it after that? And the nurse turns and she looks at you with a big old toothy grin and she says, oh, don't you know this blood is going straight to the dragon's hoard.
I love that these stories are boiling down to Jeff doesn't realize he's talking to a 30-foot monster, you know?
Yep. That's, oh no, you're catching on.
Oh no.
Hopefully someday.
You are a dragon.
Well, I was going to say, hopefully you don't ever realize that I am actually the 30-foot tall red dragon.
Wait a minute.
Why do you think I like the color red, Jeff?
Wait a minute. Oh no.
Right. Anyway,
what is our Dragon's Hoard item?
All right,
today?
so our Dragon's Hoard item today was submitted by Avon Schill via email, and this item is the blood gems.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, see, I
see your game.
So I shot myself in the foot by having these little intros of the Dragon's Hoard, and they always have to be they started getting more elaborate, and then everyone has to be more elaborate than the one before it, which sucks, but I'm at least getting a little bit of inspiration by trying to make each of them sort of related to the item that we're talking about.
Right, yeah.
So hopefully that comes off.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so there's a bit of text with this one, so I will read it to you. These strangely beautiful crimson gems are warm to the touch. Upon close observation of the gem, a glistening bead of sweat can be seen that will appear to drip blood on the floor, but doesn't leave anything behind and leaves no residue on the PC's hands. Usually extracted from the head of a dead Joragumo, which is like a spider demon. Mm-hmm. Why they grow upon their foreheads, no one really knows. Handlers of these gems must be wary when any dealings of magic are in the vicinity, as their power is rather volatile, but powerful.
Ooh.
PCs casting spells with this gem in hand are immediately bestowed the following benefits. So there are two different varieties. There's a smaller gem and a larger gem. If they have a smaller gem, all spells are now cast one level higher than their normal level. Ooh. The smaller gem has 1d6 charges, and the gem crumbles when all charges are used. And the larger gem, all spells are now cast 2 levels higher than their normal level.
Jeez.
The large gem has 1d10 charges, and again, the gem crumbles when all charges are used.
Well,
all uses of these gems in casting spells requires a charisma saving throw of DC 13. This includes casting the spell Identify to determine their nature.
Oh, okay.
On a successful save, the spell goes off as normal with bestowed benefits entailed above, but also the caster hears dozens of tormented screams in their heads until the spell is finished.
Oh dear.
On a failed save, however, the DM must have the PC roll a percentage off the short-term madness table. Thumbs up.
Yay.
Additionally, on a failed save, the PC also gets an intimate understanding of the gem's true nature. When a Joragumo bites into its target and the target keeps failing their saves, their blood as well as their soul are ripped out of their body and stored into the demon's forehead gems as future nourishment.
Oh no.
There's a little disclaimer here. This description can be basically as brutal as you want to the PC, but you want to remember to make it sound like it's happening to them when they have their madness status given to them. So if a person fails the save and they start to become mad, you want them to feel like their soul is being ripped out by the demon.
Gotcha.
Anyway, cracking or crushing a gem will cause a telepathic torrent of tormented screams for all within a 10-foot radius, as well as 1d8 human bodies worth of blood spilling upon the ground in the immediate area.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I guess you're kind of releasing the spirits within or whatever, but if you break one of these things, 1d8 bodies worth of blood.
Hold on, I'm going to do some quick math here.
Okay.
So quick Googling, it sounds like there's about 1.5 gallons worth of blood in a probably a larger size adult.
Yeah, so somewhere as much as 12 gallons worth of blood.
Yeah.
Spills out on the floor.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeesh.
Yeah. And then there's a little thing here that says it's pretty dark, but a lot of the stories about Japanese demons are rather disturbing.
Oh man.
So
yeah.
Wow. So the benefit of this is
it's a nice benefit.
It's a nice benefit. 1d6 charges of all spells are cast 1 level higher than their normal level, or 2 levels higher in the case of the large gem. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty significant effect. But then You have to make a save or go short-term insane,
right?
Which is a pretty big deal. And then you have the sensation of your soul being ripped out of your body, and man, all that blood.
I feel like something like that, like something that creates something like that. I feel like that could be. There's got to be some way to exploit that. Like you
go to a blood bank,
right?
Hey guys,
how are we gonna fit all this in the little baggies or whatever?
Or bargaining chip when negotiating with a vampire.
Oh yeah, a tasty treat for a vampire.
Exactly. Hey, leave this town alone. I'll give you 8 humans worth of blood.
Right. It's like they'll be like, oh, yeah, all right.
So yeah, I think it's a neat item. I like the theming. I like the backstory and everything. But that's creepy.
That's all.
That's one of the creepier items we've gotten.
It's a lot of blood.
Yeah. I feel like that would have been a good Halloween item. But anyway. So yeah, thank you very much, Avonshill, for the blood gems.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, that was submitted by email. So Jeff, if somebody else wanted to submit magic items for us to discuss, or stories for the funeral pyre, or questions for our main discussion segment, how would they get those to us?
They could send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com.
Yes. Now, before we go any further, we have a giveaway to give away today. So as usual, we are giving away a copy of Chapel on the Cliffs, courtesy of Goblinstone. It's a great low-level 5th edition adventure. Jeff, who is the winner today?
Our winner today is Joseph G.
Winner. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Yes, congratulations, Joseph G. I actually know him. He is one of my coworkers. So
cool.
Good job to Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you should be getting this pretty soon, Joe. If you don't, let me know. I'll get you sorted out. And if anybody else wanted to enter this drawing, Jeff, how would they do that?
They can enter the drawing by sending us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com, but you just need to put Chapel on the Cliffs in the subject line, anything you could say hello, you could tell us we're doing a great job, you could tell us we're not doing a great job. Please don't do that. It's a post of, send us a funny meme or something like that.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Some dank memes.
Yes. Send us some dank memes, please. Please.
But yeah, it's just that easy, and you can put in the drawing for the adventure. So
yeah. We really haven't gotten any people entering in a while. It's super easy. It's a free adventure. You know, just send us an email. Yep. That's it. You don't even have to listen to the episode to find out if you won.
True.
But you should, of course. But yeah, it's free stuff. Who wants to turn down free stuff?
Right.
And I want to thank our wonderful patrons for bringing this episode to you all.
Right.
We've got our Patreon at patreon.com/InterPartyConflict. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's an online service where you can pledge to give a small amount of money to a content creator for usually per month to help them do their thing. So if you like what we're doing and you want to help us make the show better, you can go to patreon.com/InterPartyConflict and you get some cool rewards for that. We've got outtakes. We've got fantasy fiction written by me every month. We've got
bonus episodes.
We actually just recorded the bonus episode that went out a few days ago.
Right.
Jeff ran a Roll20 game for our patrons. We got lots of cool stuff on there. So check that out. Become part of the team and help us make this cool.
Yeah. Every little bit helps. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. Again, thank you all so much. Everybody who is already a patron, thank you. And, anybody who's interested in becoming one, please do. And hey, if you can't afford to, or you just don't want to, just tell a friend or leave us a review on iTunes or anything that will help us get more exposure. So more people will listen.
Hey, Gabe.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Crit Nation Fellowship.
Yes. So the Crit Nation Fellowship is a little fellowship of podcasts and content creators that Justin from Crit Academy started. So I'm going to tell you guys about Crit Academy. Crit Academy is a great podcast that you should listen to. The hosts on that show, they make new and reusable content every episode for players and DMs alike. They've got great topics that they discuss. They've got, some great stuff on there. They have great guests on, great content creators, great all sorts of stuff. So check them out at critacademy.com. Also check out D&D Character Lab. So now that this episode is out, the episode that Jeff and I guested on is definitely out.
Right.
I believe that episode came out on Halloween. I think. So,
yeah.
So I listened to that episode when it, as soon as it came out, and I thought it was a really fun episode.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Great time recording it. I had a lot of fun listening to it again.
Yeah.
I thought we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. So check out Garen and Dan. They make characters every week, like fully fleshed out characters with abilities, with backstories, everything, and then they debate whose character is better. You know, it's such a fun concept.
It's really good.
Yeah, so you guys should definitely check them out. So again, Crit Academy, D&D Character Lab. There's also a few content creators on the Crit Nation Fellowship. Anyway, so check them all out. It's great stuff out there. We've got great stuff coming for you. So yeah, check them all out. You want to go ahead and get into this episode?
Sure.
Okay.
Our first question comes from Mason on Discord. What was the worst instance of you creating an encounter that you thought would be fairly doable, but completely annihilated the party?
Yeah, so I know I've mentioned this. I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the show before. I've definitely talked about it in the Discord. But
yeah.
So this was recently asked, and of course this immediately came to mind. But I ran our Roll20 game, not just this past month, but the one before.
Yeah.
And in that I only had 2 encounters during that session. The first encounter I had statted out, and it was actually supposed to be a deadly encounter. Mm-hmm. Like I was using kobold.club, which is it's like a encounter generator that you can use to like easily see what sort of a challenge and anyway, it's just a really, really easy to use resource.
Right.
So I was using that, and I had set up one encounter that had, the party was all level 2. I had one CR2 enemy, and then like a bunch of CR1 half minions, I think. And because of how action economy is like a big thing, anytime you add extra enemies, it usually like adds quite a bit to the difficulty. So
right, yeah.
It went from being like, fairly easy with just the CR2 to being a deadly and then some encounter because there were just so many potential actions.
Right.
But, I thought I'll still throw it at the party, see what happens. If I need to make some adjustments on the fly, I can, but I think, I'll see how this goes. So then I ran it, and like one person got hit, like almost nobody took any damage this entire battle. And, there were some factors that led to that. Like the party did get a drop on the bad guy, and then like they got higher initiative, and
it was a high initiative mixed with a surprise round mixed with like, It was a cleric of the light domain versus some undead.
Pretty much.
Like, that we had the advantage on that encounter.
So they got through that encounter super easily. Not really a big hassle whatsoever. Like I said, I think one character got hit and they took a little bit of damage, but that was it.
Yeah.
So I had one more encounter planned after that. There was some role playing and such and exploration in there too. But I had another encounter that the players later, they were on their way to it. And when I was standing out that encounter, I was trying to decide between 1 CR2 or 2 CR2s. They were like these things from the Tome of Beasts that they're these like air elementals or something like that. And they have this like area attack or whatever. So I figured, well, 1 CR2 is an easy encounter. 2 CR2s is a deadly encounter. Like again, going by this encounter generator that I was using. And I thought, well, the last encounter was also supposed to be a deadly encounter. I'll go ahead and throw these 2 at them, these 2 CR2s, easy or deadly. It's probably not going to be, it's probably not as big of a jump as this thing is making it out to be.
Right.
So I threw this encounter at them. Almost everybody got lower than the monsters in initiative. So the monsters went second in combat. Justin's character went first, then the monsters went. And then the monsters took one of the monsters used its area attack. I didn't have both of them do it. Just one of them did it.
Yeah.
And everyone failed their save. Almost everyone was knocked unconscious immediately.
Right. Yeah. It was a stun, or was it?
They just took enough damage to go below 0.
Oh, okay.
So they were just knocked unconscious. And then a couple characters were left, but one of the remaining characters, a wizard, tried to cast sleep.
But yeah.
Which, instead of affecting the 2 enemies, affected the party barbarian.
Right.
Put him to sleep. And then the wizard got knocked unconscious.
Oh my goodness.
So within one round, maybe like a round and a half, everyone was down. They weren't dead. One of them was only asleep, but still, I was after they had gone through the first encounter so easily, I thought surely this one won't be that big of a change.
Right.
There's fewer enemies. There's less action economy on the enemy side.
Yeah.
Surely it won't be a huge problem. And no, it was. It very much was.
It's a combination of a lot of things. It's mostly just luck of the draw, of the roll of the dice and everything like that. But because even if you had just used one of those monsters,
even just one, it would have ended exactly the same.
Right. Yeah. If the rolls were the same, but there was only one of them, it still would have been the same situation. We just missed. We were clumped together, and
everybody failed. It was a very low save.
Yeah,
but everybody failed it.
Yep, and that just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think during the adventure I was running, I was using a generator as well. I don't know which one it was. I don't think it was Cobalt.club.
Yeah,
I forget. But yeah, I remember rolling it. Or finding an encounter that works well for the situation and everything like that. And so I threw a bunch of specters, and specters themselves aren't too bad. Cause they have fly, they can fly, and they can, they're ghosts. So they're they're resistant to most damage.
Yeah.
Any non-magical damage will be resistant. So although they don't have a ton of hit points.
Mm-hmm.
So they just basically effectively have double hit points unless you're using magic, in which case they only have as much hit points as a zombie does anyway. I think they only have 22 hit points or something like that.
Sure.
So even if you don't have any magic, you can still deal with them. Okay. The main thing is that they have it's a DC 10 Constitution save, and if they attack you and you fail to save, you lose maximum hit points.
Oh yeah.
Which can be kind of rough.
Yeah.
It's there's sort of this drawback, they're really not super hard, but there's, it's if you fight them, you run the risk of that sort of a thing.
Yeah. Cause that's the sort of thing that if they get it down to 0, you die.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure if that's worded in there.
Okay. Well, anyway,
but I would imagine that's sort of the case.
It's nasty stuff.
Yeah. And, because I ran it once with Skylar's group.
Yeah.
And then I ran it again with you guys. And both seemed to get through it. I think I picked it as I think it was a medium. I don't think it was a hard.
Okay.
So seemed to get through them pretty easily. It was sort of intimidating at first because they're ghosts and you're not crap. Yeah. Am I doing anything? Is anything am I being effective? So there's sort of that hesitation, but it seemed a lot easier than in my case, I feel I could have gone, tougher with it.
Sure.
But again, I wanted to see how well I do as a DM, controlling a battle and stuff like that. So again, I don't really have too much experience in this question specific, to answer this question specifically, but
yeah.
But I do understand that combat, encounter difficulty is a very fickle thing.
You kind of gotta, you're threading a needle, and no matter how good you are, sometimes that needle is just going to bend to the side or something.
It's the roll of the dice. Just there's too much riding on the dice.
Yeah.
To really know how something's going to go. And you can always fudge the rolls or kind of change the tactics of the monster or the encounter midway, but that can sometimes be noticed by the players.
And I don't ever want to rely on that if I can help it.
Yeah.
I want to say when I very first started running 5th edition, when it had first come out and I had moved back to Michigan, I was running a game that I think you were in.
Yeah. Dave
was in, Chris was in.
Dang.
Zave was in.
And then Tom and Mary.
Were they in there from the beginning or did they join later? I can't remember.
I think they were in there. Maybe not the first adventure, but they were in there for most of the time I was playing.
Okay. Well, I think the first encounter I ran, I think I had a similar thing where I had an easy encounter and then a deadly encounter. The easy one ended up being super deadly and the deadly one ended up being super easy just because dice rolls.
Right. Yeah.
So it's real hard to.
I think there was one where I got I failed a save on hold person or something.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
And that one that one really rough because I think I was the party healer at that point or something like that.
Yeah.
I was a paladin, so like, but like I immediately got like held, and so like that was rough.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It is really hard to predict how a battle is going to go. So yeah, sometimes it just goes completely against what you thought.
It does help to like really get a good look over the stat block of the monster, and like even like kind of run through little drills in your head and see like, if this happens, like, it might be worth looking at it and saying like, okay, if every single player fails this save, what would happen? Like,
sure.
So like you maybe think over like worst case scenarios, and if that worst case scenario is just a game ender, then maybe make that more obvious to the players, or maybe kind of dial it back a little bit or something.
Okay,
but I don't know. Like, encounter building is an art.
It is. It really is.
Like there's science, there's math and stuff to it to figure out like the experience and what the books say is a hard battle or an easy battle, but whether or not it's going to go easily or hard, that figuring that out, that's an art.
Yeah. And I haven't played very many higher level 5th edition encounters. I'm curious as to whether that becomes more or less pronounced as the numbers get bigger. I mean, I know that the numbers don't really get that much bigger, especially like with bonuses and such. But I am curious as to whether you get more of a safety net, or if it maybe becomes even more deadly as the game goes on. I don't know.
Yeah, is it more like, because it does seem at the beginning it's more on the extremes of it's either really easy or really hard.
Yeah.
But does that sort of level out towards the later levels?
Sure.
Does it get more extreme, or is it just stay about the same?
I feel like in 3rd edition, there was like a big period in the middle where everything kind of leveled out. But then in the very beginning and in the very end, pretty much everything could be decided by a single die roll. Like early on, a single hit could take you down.
Right.
And then later on, a single failed save and you were dead.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because in the beginning, it's really easy to kill a player just by hitting them and taking their hit points.
Yeah.
In the middle, they have more ways to deal with that. And then in the end, it becomes really hard to just kill a player by taking
by damage. So instead,
so you said you had to use your failed, your finger of death spells.
Sure.
And stuff like that, where it's just like, oh, you failed to save, you're dead. That's it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Our next question comes from Preston Penguin R on Discord. In your opinion, what 5th edition class makes the best archer?
Yeah. So for this one, I think I would give the same answer that I gave in previous editions as well. I'm a bit conflicted on this one.
Okay.
In pretty much every previous edition, I would say fighter is the best archer. Despite the fact that, like, I remember when I first got into D&D, everybody, like, Lord of the Rings was out and everything. And so you'd always think like, oh yeah, best archer, definitely ranger. Definitely like an elven ranger or something like that. Because, Legolas and blah, 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 whatever.
I'd say Legolas is more of a fighter anyway.
Well, okay.
Well, then again, I don't really know the lore very well.
Sure. Okay. Well, maybe I guess let me rephrase that. So it was just assumed that if you saw someone in like a movie or whatever that was really good in a bow, a lot of people would say, oh yeah, clearly that's a ranger.
Yeah.
But I always felt differently. I felt like, well, no, because you never see any of these characters in movies casting spells. You never see them with an animal companion, which was the standard in 3rd edition D&D.
Yeah.
You never see them with all of the other hallmarks of being a ranger. You just see them using a bow and or using 2 swords.
Right.
Whereas I feel like a fighter in 3rd edition could do all of that better. A fighter could be better with a bow because of the number of feats that you got, and you could be better at using 2-weapon fighting because of the number of feats you got. So I felt like ranger was never really as good of an archer because half of their devotion was divided on something else. Whereas fighter, they could choose to devote entirely on fighting. In 5th edition, I agree, except that I think that Rangers can choose a specialization that gives them a +2 to all attack rolls with a bow.
That's
do fighters get that too?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do. Okay.
That's the weapon style.
Yeah.
And fighters have that option.
Because that's a real big deal. Because like I don't think any of the other weapon styles increase your attack rolls.
Nope.
They just increase like your damage, or they let you do something you couldn't normally do.
There was a time when I was making a character that was using javelins, and I wanted to take that thing, but it doesn't work because javelins are melee weapons that are thrown.
Yeah.
Like so, like it only gives you a +2 attacks on ranged weapons, not on ranged attacks, but ranged weapons. So it couldn't, even if you only ever use javelins as ranged, at range, it doesn't count.
Okay.
But no, that is something that is available to fighters. So like, and
then I guess I would still say fighter.
Yeah, just like you do get more feats. Well, you have the potential to get more feats as a fighter.
But then you can get like, does Battlemaster, is Battlemaster limited to melee?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, maybe some of them are, but
Battlemaster, the one with the maneuvers.
Yeah,
I want to say most of them are melee.
Should I check my book?
Yeah, might as well.
Hang on a second. Okay, some of them are, some of them aren't.
So yeah, Rangers, I know they have a specialization that's the Hunter, where they get like Colossus Slayer. You do extra damage if something's been hit already.
Okay.
Horde Breaker, you can make an extra attack or something. Oh, here it is. Multi-attack at 11th level, you gain one of the features of your choice. You can get Whirlwind, or you can get Volley. Volley, you choose your action to make a ranged attack against any number of creatures within 10 feet of a point you can see within your weapon's range.
Whoa.
And then you have to have the ammunition to do so, but then as normal, you make a separate attack for each target. Mm-hmm. So like, they do get some cool like extra range stuff in there somewhere, but I'd still think warriors are like fighters are still the way to go.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's just a fighter. Like Rangers have other stuff that makes them good at other things than just okay. In theory, they were designed in theory to have other abilities that make them good at stuff other than just shooting stuff with a bow. Whereas fighters, if you build them for a bow, that's all they do, and they do it really, really well.
Yeah.
So like the Battlemaster fighter can use some of their maneuvers at range.
Champion is it the champion one? That one's kind of nice, I think.
Champion is just, you just get really good at doing criticals.
Yeah,
pretty much
like that, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
So like having that, like you choose the archery style, so you get the +2 to attack, and you get the higher chance of criticals and stuff like that. Like you're having a good time with that. I will say there's Kensai and the Monk, which is through Xanathar's guide.
Okay.
And they get to like choose specific weapons, and they get like that they kind of focus in, and they get some bonuses to it, but it's not much. Like I think you get like some bonus damage or something.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy. But again, in Xanathar's, there's the Arcane Archer for fighter, and like it's pretty cool. Like you still get the feats and stuff and everything else of a fighter, and then you get these little extra like magical arrow shots that you can do.
Okay.
And some of them are kind of cool. Like some of them ignore cover. Like they basically go through things. Or like there's one that like makes it so like your attack is a line attack.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's like penetrating shot where like anything within that line is going to take. I think you do like they do like a dex saving throw or something.
Okay.
Instead of hitting their AC. But
sure.
It's like, you can hit multiple targets with one attack. There's one where it's like, same idea, but it's like you shoot something and then it does like a little burst of energy around them, and that like a little explosion or something. And then it does damage to stuff around them. And there's like a few other ones, like, heck, they might even be able to track better than Rangers, because there's like there's an arcane shot that like if you hit something with it, it will track them down and then you'll know where they are.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
It's not like a mile range.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I feel like being able to track something in a dungeon is much more useful than being able to track something over miles.
Yeah.
Like, if the DM wants you to find that thing, you're going to find that thing, even no matter how far away it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be going too much into how much love Ranger needs. But,
sure.
But whatever. But yeah, no, I think fighter is definitely the best way to go for.
Yeah. There's a few different ways to make a fighter a really, really good archer. But Ranger just it's just it's really lackluster in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You can still have fun playing one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was actually playing. So listeners.
Uh-huh.
I have said in the past that I have never had any interest in playing a ranger or a druid. I played a ranger in Jeff's game.
Yeah, he played a Beastmaster Ranger.
I did, and I'll even give credit where credit's due. The reason that I was okay with playing a Beastmaster Ranger is because a few weeks ago there was an episode of Crit Academy where it wasn't even the main topic. Justin just went on this rant about how you could play Beastmaster Ranger well.
Uh-huh.
And he made such a good argument that I was like, well, shoot, now I want to try a Beastmaster Ranger.
What was his argument?
I don't remember all the details, but basically it was like, you shouldn't just be sending in your pet to attack. If all you're doing is sending in your pet to attack, that's like the least interesting and least powerful way of using it.
Uh-huh.
You should be using your pet. You should be like having your pet duck behind cover and like scout out while you're scouting out this other way or whatever. Like you got to use your pet like it is another character.
Sure.
And if you had a second character, how would you use them to their greatest extent? You wouldn't just have them run up and attack while you just stood in the back. You would find ways to coordinate your abilities and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. It got me thinking like, yeah, I kind of want to try, I want to try to use all these tactical options that having a second character would afford me.
Yeah.
So it was enough to at least give me a cool idea in my head of what such a character could be.
Sure.
So yeah, I played a Beastmaster Ranger in your game, and I'm looking forward to playing that character some more.
Cool. Another thing to point out again is like the feats, and like just to kind of briefly go over some of the feats. Like there's, like if you're not just sticking to bows specifically, there's the crossbow expert,
sure,
which allows you to fire into melee. And I think if you're into crossbows, it gets rid of the loading.
Oh yeah,
like so you don't have to worry about the loading action anymore. Like you can that way you can use multiple attacks in an action with a crossbow. And then that specific, I think that specific feat gives you the option to like basically make an extra attack with a hand crossbow or something.
Oh, okay.
What it is like if you make an attack, you can make an attack with you can use a bonus action to attack with a hand crossbow.
Okay.
So with that feat, you can basically go in and you can be in melee. You hit with your sword and then shoot with your hand crossbow.
Sure.
And it's kind of fun.
That's kind of cool.
I made a character for Griff's campaign actually he was doing, and I made her fighter warlock hexblade, but she had a shield and a hand crossbow.
Oh, cool.
And like the way I thought it is like you're supposed to be like dual wielding pistols, and I was like, I'm gonna make a dual wielding pistol thing, but then I kind of read it over. I'm like, no, you don't need to be dual wielding. It doesn't say you have to have it in your offhand or anything like that. It just says when you make an attack, you can use a bonus action to fire a you can use it to fire a hand crossbow. Sure. I think it says specifically a loaded one, but because of gets rid of the loading thing.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You ignore that. So you basically always have a loaded crossbow, So like I was able to have a shield and be able to shoot twice with the thing.
That's
and
cool.
Because she was a fighter, had the archery thing. So she had a +2 to attack.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It was really good. It was so good. It was just like 2 shots that were almost always going to hit. It was so great.
Cool.
But so yeah, like crossbow expert's fun. Then you have the sharpshooter, which you were using.
Oh yeah. Sharpshooters are good feat.
Yeah. To great effect in most cases.
In most cases, yeah.
But yeah, ignores everything but full cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you get your you can take a -5 on your attack, which again you're getting a +2 from the archery style.
Mm-hmm.
So like that helps with that. You take a -5, but then you get a +10 on the damage.
Yeah.
So like that's like 10 extra damage.
That is so much damage.
That's a lot of damage. It's just. Was there something else with the sharpshooter? I can't remember if that was the only 2 things about it. I feel like there's a third thing. Oh, I think it's. You don't take disadvantage on. Yeah, that's what it is. And also,
yes.
you no longer take disadvantage at maximum range.
Yes. So whatever the maximum range is, that's your range now. You can. You'd fire all the way up to that with no penalties.
Right. So like, you're you can hit stuff from very far away with little trouble, even if they're behind partial cover. So like even if you're on the far end of like of like some woods, you can, if as long as you can see them through the trees, you can hit them like with a longbow. I think that's like 600 feet or something ridiculous. It's so far.
All right, well, that'll do it for our normal questions for the week, but we have our social media questions. So last week's question was, do you use poison or disease in your games? Why or why not? Or I think when we were recording last week's episode, I think I actually said, how has it added to your game? But I did not ask that when I actually posted on social media. So sorry about that. So do you remember, did you have an answer?
I can't remember. If I said anything, or if I did anything.
I don't think so. And my answer was no. I like the few times that I have used poison or disease, they ended up getting cured almost immediately. So I didn't really make a difference.
They're really just, And
I mean, I'm not saying there's not a way to do it right, but just in my experience, it just hasn't been a very big part of the game.
I feel like players are too like innately wary of poisons and stuff. Like nobody like just randomly drinks a potion anymore, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I wish players would just try more stuff.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like just I feel like there should just be better like mechanics for dealing with that.
Yeah.
So like if you wanted to taste something, like have there be like maybe you have a easier, maybe the DC is easier or something like that.
Yeah.
So like, people are more likely to try it. They might still roll low and get poisoned, but
that makes me think of I've heard it said about stealth video games. A stealth game or stealth mechanics in a game are only as good as how fun it is to be caught. Like, let me try to word that a little better. So if getting caught while doing a stealth portion of a game is not fun, then the stealth mechanics are bad.
Right.
If getting caught just means, okay, now I get to run around and, find a new hiding spot and or shoot guards while they look for me, that could be fun. That's a better way to deal with stealth mechanics. If it is just you fail, you got to start over, that's a bad way to do it. So in the similar way, I think if D&D had more fun rules about tasting a mysterious potion,
right?
If it wasn't just, oh, you're dead.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
And that actively discourages people from doing it. But if testing random potions will sometimes lead to, now your head is really big for the next hour.
Yeah.
Or something, that could be a lot more fun and that could encourage more people to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just potions in general, not even poisoned one or anything like that. Yeah. Like, because there's no mechanics choose like, taste it and see what happens sort of thing. It's like you either drink it or you don't.
Exactly.
Like you're either going to get the effects of it or you're not going to drink it. And it's like, so they're like, well, I got this potion and I'm not going to like, it's rare to have somebody who's going to be like, we're in a really bad situation. I don't know what to do. I'm going to drink this mysterious potion we found in the room, behind the one we're in.
Right.
Like, when is that going to go well? Almost never, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, that's a great point. And I think, I think more people should be willing to try stuff like that.
Right.
And if they were, I'd be willing to use poison and disease more. Anyway,
I'd be willing to poison them more if they'd be willing to drink it.
On Facebook, Jom says, I use both whenever I find it making sense. So,
sure.
It makes sense.
When it calls for it.
When it calls for it. Yeah. Yeah. Collins says, well, I certainly will now. Over on Reddit, Static Flyer says, it gets boring if the only source of damage is a sword. Let's mix it up and keep the players from falling into a routine. They don't give you more tools for no reason.
Sure.
And, okay. I definitely can understand that. I do wish I would use stuff like that more often. I just don't.
Right.
I'm not saying, again, I'm not trying to say that you can't or that it's not good to use them. Just personally, I've just never really done it.
Sure.
00 Jiminy Cricket says, yes, I think diseases are super realistic and everyone can relate to them. Ever have a weird headache or a stomach bug or an infected blister? I like what is in the DMG, what I randomly find on Reddit, and Microbes of Malice from DM's Guild.
Ooh.
Props to the author Garen, that is Garen from the D&D Character Lab.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
they do have a supplement that they made that you should go check out. I think it's only like a couple bucks or something.
Yeah. They have a few of them that are pretty good.
Yeah. Prosino says, "Oh yeah, it's a great way to weaken strong characters. I like to use it to make monsters more dynamic. I even give it to easy monsters to make them harder."
Sure.
Yeah, I like the idea of poisons and disease. I like reading interesting ones in the book, but I don't know. I just never use them in my games. I'll try to say this. I'll try next time I run a game, which may not, I mean like a long-term game. I will try to use poisons and diseases more. Over on Discord, Damien from Adventures in Aurelia says, poison hasn't technically come up yet, though one of the players did or does have a potion in their possession. And while it's not really a disease and more of a curse, a couple of my players are about to deal with were-rat lycanthropy.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So to answer the why or why not part, why not is because it just hasn't come up yet, but it isn't a mechanic I'm against exploring. So that's cool. You know, it looks like it will be coming up in the future, so good luck to them. Adam on Discord says, I use both, as poison allows the assassin in my party to heavily roleplay purchasing and experimenting.
Sure.
The disease also makes undead encounters far more dangerous in the long term.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I didn't even think of the role-playing possibilities of dealing with poison.
Yeah, because you're dealing with having to go to a shady spot to buy them, or having to find somebody who has the right antidotes and things like that.
Or we had a question a few weeks back that was like, what are some ways to make encounters less about killing the monsters?
Sure.
You could have an encounter where you have to catch a live poisonous creature.
Oh yeah,
so you have to like disable it or knock it out.
You're trying to harvest the poison.
Yeah.
Or like for use to poison somebody, or maybe to like
or to make an antidote.
Yeah, develop an antidote for like a sick, royal member or something.
Yeah, that's
pretty good.
I'm embarrassed. I never even had thought of the possibility of
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Then over on Twitter, Noah Wizard said, I once fought a CR1/2 that poisoned me for 3d6 damage.
Oh, man.
That was in a game that I ran at the library. It was a published adventure that I was running. It was just when you get hit, you make a save or you take 3d6 extra damage. So it was a very, very deadly encounter. And at the time, when I was running this encounter, I was like, I mean, these are only CR1/2s. In theory, you should be able to take them down easily. He was like, are you sure that / is supposed to be there? And implying that it's a typo. CR12. So, yeah.
Man.
Anyway, Justin from Crit Academy says, yes, all the time. Survival checks for rations and food in my game are important. Roll too low and end up eating something bad or getting lost and running into poisonous plants. I Rot Shrub Monster variant is a result of me poisoning and giving my players diseases. Hashtag poison for life.
Oh, goodness.
So yeah, sounds like he used them all the time, and he's had some good results with it. So.
Yeah.
Limitless Adventures on Twitter says, often great way to weaken the party prior to the boss fight.
Sure.
And that's a good point. If you're not using them just to deal damage, although I guess they could be referring to just using them to deal damage, but just as a way to make the party use up resources.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a little extra lingering damage that they'll have to keep healing over time or something.
Yeah, something like that. I suppose so. I don't know. Again, I never really think. I always think just more straightforward, I guess. And then I Am Carlos says, I haven't yet, but I want to. It has to make sense story-wise.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think, in my defense, I think it's probably just that when I run a game, the focus is usually just on something else.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever want to just throw it in just for the heck of it. I probably also want it to make sense story-wise, and it's never on the front of my mind, so
yeah,
I don't bother to work it into the story, So yeah, I'm
more poisons.
All right. Jeff demanded it. So everybody in my future that will be getting poisoned, I apologize.
Maybe for the next Roll20 session, I'll throw in some more poisons.
Sure. And let me make it clear what I just said was meant in game.
Right.
We are in no way advocating
poisoning
actual
life.
people in real life.
No, yeah, don't do that.
Please, NSA, don't come after us. Anyway. So those were our social media discussion question responses from last week. Mm-hmm. So the question for this coming week is, what are some must-have accessories at your gaming table?
Oh.
So some examples: dice towers, DM screens, soundboards, etc.
Sure.
Do you have any off the top of your head?
Craft beer.
Okay, so more in the the consumable variety.
A delicious beer.
That's cool. I mean, that could be if you think that always makes the game better. That could be a must-have accessory.
It's just tasty.
I would say probably I'll try to come up with some more examples for next episode. But off the top of my head, I would say probably one that I always wish I had, but I never actually do. So maybe they're not must-have, but they're would be really useful to have. Is some sort of spell cards or ability cards, just cards that represent your abilities with cooldowns, so that you can easily look down and see what abilities you have to use and then flip them over when you've used them. So that, I always find whenever I play spellcaster, I find myself idly in my free time, cutting out things that I can use for those. I never end up using them, but I always want to.
That was a nice thing about 4th edition, was they kind of made it they made it into these little card things. And stuff. That was really cool. And people have gone and sort of tried to make 5th edition versions of it. It's not, it's not quite as simple, but it's still fun. You can still do it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more, a little bit more work involved, but that's good.
Sure. And I'm notoriously cheap when it comes to stuff like this. So if there's something that I can make myself, I would rather make it myself. And I guess maybe cheap isn't the only adjective that I could use, but I enjoy making stuff, and I would rather make it than spend money. So,
I have a more serious answer.
Yeah.
That there was that quick reference website.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I don't know if you have the link, but I'll send it to you again.
If I don't, I'll get it from you. I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, but it was just a single page. You might have to scroll up and down a little bit, but it's just it's all the different actions you can take and conditions and things like that. It's just a quick reference guide for 5th edition, and it's a bunch of little brief little tooltip, brief little descriptions, and then you can click on it and it brings out the actual text from the book. And it's just really nice to have, because it's all just right there in colorful buttons, and you can just be you're prone. Oh, what does prone do? Click
on prone. Bam, it's right there.
Advantage against you for melee attacks and such.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that is definitely a great 5th edition resource.
Because I was trying to find that basically, and then in a way, a printable form, so I can make a DM screen sort of.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of what the back of DM screens are sort of for.
Pretty much,
is make a little quick reference guide for but you personalize it for yourself.
Yeah.
But having that, so that that you get all the basic rules right there, very easy to find. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to go flipping through books or anything. It's just right there. You click it and you find it.
Here's an idea for a must-have accessory that I've never consciously sought one out, but whenever one's there, I'm always happy, and that is a mascot.
A mascot.
It could be a stuffed animal that you always have on the table or something when you play, or a big miniature, or in one case, it was a drawing that Chris had done on the mat that we never erased.
Sure.
And so number one, it became a permanent part of the mat, and also we really liked it. He was running some adventure where a bad guy, we beat this bad guy, and as we killed him, a ring fell off his hand, and when it hit the ground, it sprouted legs and arms and a head and ran off and disappeared in a crack in the wall. And he drew a picture of it on the edge of the mat, and we loved it, so we just left it there all the time. So something that it's the group, not in-game mascot, but it's an out-of-game, it's the group's mascot, the table's mascot.
Yeah, again, just a stuffed animal or a miniature or something.
Yeah.
Or I think you had your little your mimic dice bag.
Yes, I did.
And so I think we were playing 4th edition at the time.
Yeah, it was the Shackle City.
I would imagine that if we were playing 5th edition, it'd be if you were giving somebody inspiration. It'd be oh, get your inspiration out of the bag, and then we'd reach in for it. It's a mimic.
Right.
So yeah, it was a little mascot guy.
Sure. And I'll see if I can come up with any more between now and next week. So visual aids. Visual aids. Yeah.
Fun. Or that sort of thing. what was it? The experience point or something like that. Like we have made a crown out of a.
It was because you guys came over really early one day, and so you brought like a drink holder with coffee in it or something.
Yeah, that's right.
And so
a drink carrier.
We made it into a little crown, and whenever I would quote unquote give someone an experience point, because we weren't using experience in that campaign, you'd have to wear it on your head or something.
Just little visual things like that can just kind of, it's just fun.
Yeah, it's just like a little bonding thing that the group can.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little goof.
Yeah,
a little inside gag sort of thing.
All right, so that's the question. What are some must-have accessories at your gaming table? And you can be as literal or as abstract as you want. All right. Well, that'll do it for our questions for today. So I think we should let's kick back. Let's remember those who have come before us, who have made the world a better place. Let's take a deep breath. As we toss another log onto the funeral pyre. And today's funeral pyre was submitted by Reddit user Mother Darling. And the story is as follows. This was in Pathfinder. My character got injected with Numerian fluids and got so high he saw his god.
Oh.
One of the other characters was addicted to Numerian fluids and could turn into a dragon. They did so, and then ate me, overdosed, and died themselves.
Oh.
10 out of 10 would play again.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. What a way to go.
Yep. So yeah, that's a good story, I guess. Oh, my goodness. So let's raise a glass in memory of the unnamed character who should have said no to drugs and said no to the dragon who was also on drugs.
Oh, gosh.
Clink. All right. That'll do it for today. To submit questions for us to discuss, items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the funeral pyre, please email us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. For show notes, links to media mentioned on the show, and running lists of questions and magic items, go to interpartyconflict.com. Join the discussion on social media. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/interpartyconflict, our subreddit at reddit.com/r/interpartyconflict, on our Interparty Discord, or on Twitter at InPartyConflict for our weekly social media questions. Your answers might end up on the show. Find us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, anywhere you download podcasts. Please rate, review, subscribe, or just tell a friend. If you'd like to support the show, check out the rewards at patreon.com/interpartyconflict. There's a few different tiers, so anything you can spare, even $1 a month, would go towards making the show better, and you'll get bonus content for it. Jeff, tell us about FriendQuest.
FriendQuest is a YouTube channel where we play video games, and we're also on Twitch.
Yes, at
FriendQuest Stream.
Yes. You can check out my side project, the Arcade Memories Podcast. You can submit your childhood memories of going to the arcade to me at arcadememoriespodcast@gmail.com. Also, head over to bit.ly/interpartyconflict to take a short survey about our show, what you like, what you don't like, etc. And just for taking it, you'll get 2 free printable board games courtesy of Mary and Tom over at hollandspiel.com. And our music is made by Boxcat Games from Nameless the Hackers RPG. So, Jeff, until next time.
Hey, Gabe, put this apple on your head.
Okay.
Yep, just keep it right there.
Okay.
All right. Stand still.
Thunk.